Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's me, Cyber Warrior, and I am very grateful to have you here today. What I would like you to do before we get started, please click the subscribe button, click the bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. Now, today, what I want to go over is work life balance and how you can manage improving your knowledge and working full time or going to school, as well as whether you're single or married with a family. Now, ever since I got into security, my life has changed and altered all along the way. And actually, ever since I've been in IT, mind you, I've been in IT since I was, a wee little kid, taking care, fixing computers and making sure my dad didn't yell at me for breaking his after I had already broken it once. So, I took it upon myself to learn computers, and I've done a lot of things on my own. Now, up until a few years back, I didn't have kids. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have a family. It was just me. So it was really easy to work full time or go to school, and then take the nights to play games or work on security for a little while and study Linux and backtrack and Ubuntu and Arch and all the different distros, as well as still work on Windows and Mac. All right. And that's something I've always, loved, is being able to study all of them and never really uh, settling, okay? Because I like to play and tinker and really get to know different aspects of computers and cybersecurity and things of that nature. So when I was single, it was easy, right? I didn't have to worry about necessarily a work-life balance. For me, it was all fun. I'd go to work, cool. I was still young. I was in college or high school or whatever the case may be. And then afterwards, if I had homework or whatever, I'd do that. I'd find time for games. I'd find time for friends. Um, but I always made sure to find time to improve myself and my knowledge of computers and my knowledge of security. It's one of the things that I've always made sure to do. And when you are single, you kind of have to set aside at least an hour, sometimes more. I mean, you're single, so unless you're going out, every night of the week, what I recommend is taking about an hour every day, or at least 3 days a week, to really find something that you want to. I won't say master, but really get to know and become really well versed at and work on it, whether that's scripting or Linux or reverse engineering malware and code analysis or logs or an operating system. Take the time to learn it. Pick up the books, go online, do your research. Now, as you get older and your career starts to come to fruition, and especially if you're in a career of IT and cybersecurity, then you know that you have to step your game up. All right, the landscape, as it's always changing. You have to make sure to stay on top of it. Now, ever since I was in the military, one of the things I made sure to do, and my wife knew it, my kids knew it, is I would take an hour or two every day, not once in a while, not once a week, every day, to work on some form of security. Sometimes I was working towards gaining the knowledge towards a certification. Sometimes it was just Wi-Fi security. The It really varied, but I was always working at it. And it could have been offensive security. It was, logs and what the new malware out does, or whatever the case may be. But I took the time to learn it. And the one thing that we as adults have to, when you have a family, explain to your significant other is, this is my career. If I don't do this, if I don't get better, then my career will kind of falter. It won't, I won't be able to grow. I won't be able to last very long. And I'm not saying you're going to get fired, but your ability to kind of move up and do different things, or kind of shift between what you're doing, is going to get harder. All right, and the thing about it is, we don't want to make our jobs harder. In cybersecurity, our jobs are hard enough as it is with how much it changes. So being able to take the time to really dedicate to improving your knowledge and growing as a professional is invaluable. So, like I said, one of the big takeaways, and one of the things that the reason that I impress about an hour or two a day, is when I went away for my military training. Part of it was SANS courses. And when I got there, I had already known, uh, honestly, probably the vast majority of the tools they were teaching: Nmap, Metasploit, um, TCP dump, and the list goes on. And one of the fellow soldiers that I was in the schoolhouse with asked me, and they said, how do you know this, or why is it so easy for you? And I told her the same thing I'm telling you guys right now. And I asked her the question. I said, so when you go home, what do you do? And the answer was, well, I make dinner and I watch TV. I play with the kids, spend time with my husband. And I said, that's cool. And I do this. I find time for the same thing, right? I've got kids. I've got a family. So I make sure to spend time with them. But I take an hour or two every night after work to better myself and to learn more. And that's what set us apart, is I have a passion for this. And I've discussed this in previous videos. Your passion is really what's going to drive you to that next level. So that passion carried me to learning more and to growing. So, my wife has always had an understanding that if we want to do better, especially once I left the military, then this couldn't stop. I had to continue to grow and learn. And, when you're in the military or when you're in a job, regardless if it's military, government, private sector, corporate, it doesn't matter. You spend so much time understanding their infrastructure and what they do and what your day-to-day work is. You don't get a lot of time while at work to do something that is outside of the parameters of your career or your job. So you have to take that time at home. So what I would suggest is, once the kids are in bed, then take that hour or two to really develop yourself and develop your capabilities. If you don't, then again, we've already discussed it. If you're single, it gives you a little bit more leeway. You have a little bit more time, whether you're going to school full-time or part-time, or going to school and working full-time, whatever the case may be. You still have that ability, as worn out as you might be, to learn something new and learn something that you're not learning in school or you're not doing at work. You have that time. You just have to be able to find a way to fit it into your schedule. So make a calendar, even if it's 20 minutes a day. No matter how busy you are, 20 minutes to work on scripting, do research on malware, or what's coming up in the new operating system, what are the technical specs, reading RFCs, as boring as they can be. Whatever it is you really want to specialize in or really want to get good at, even 20 minutes. Again, I took an hour or two every day, and I would do it at night after the kids went to bed. But you don't have to do that. 20, 30 minutes is all it takes to get some new knowledge and new information. And, finding that time, though it may be difficult, is something that will prove invaluable. And it is something that once you do it and you start making it a habit and you start, putting into the rotation of your daily schedule, then you will find that your knowledge is growing and you're able to do more and understand more. So when you hit some of those more advanced certifications, whether it be a CISSP, an OSCP, an OSCE, CASP, whatever the case may be, SANS certifications, as long as you have taken the time to invest in the knowledge prior to entering those courses, trust me, you will thank yourself, because you'll know the information prior to getting there. And you may not know everything. Even I didn't know everything. I can't tell you how many times I would ask the instructors for my SANS courses and everything else, like, hey, what does this mean? What am I doing wrong? I know I've seen this before, but something's not working right. It's not clicking. So I didn't have all the answers, but because I loved what I did, because I'd already had a good sense of how a lot of the tools and techniques worked, it made it easier for me to understand and know what questions to ask. I wasn't just asking basic Linux questions like, how do I change directories, or how do I list out a directory, or how do I, grep a file. I was asking about the tools. All right, what switches am I missing? I know I'm trying to do something. I want to do a Christmas tree scan with Nmap, and I can't remember what the switch is. Those are the questions I would ask. And yes, I know they're in the man pages. I know you can go to the website and look it up and everything else. But when you have an instructor there that can tell you, sometimes it's as easy as just asking him, like, hey, I got the dash S, what am I missing? So things like that. But again, I make this video because I've seen a lot of people talk about how, maybe not necessarily a lot, but I've seen people where they completely neglect the fact that you have to pursue knowledge after work. You have to pursue knowledge after school. And I've said it on numerous occasions, the different things you can do, whether it be videos, blogs, this, that, or the other, to really help it stick. But if you don't even make the attempt, then that is where you're really gonna slow down, and your knowledge is gonna falter. So again, 20 minutes. Take 20 minutes, write it on a calendar, put it on Google Calendars, your iCalendar, or write it on a dry erase board like I have behind me, and say, okay, 10 o'clock till 10:20 or 10:30 at night, this is what I'm doing, all right? And you can write down Python scripting. You can write down looking into Windows drivers and what they do, or DLLs, or looking into the Linux kernel and how it's configured. I want to pull down the TrickBot malware and reverse engineer it and kind of look at the assembly code, whatever the case may be. But set up a topic, and 20 to 30 minutes every night dedicate to studying that topic, because you may not understand it right away. So do it. And if it's RFCs, if you want to know how 5G works, by all means, make that your topic. But do something to really elevate yourself in terms of the knowledge that you have. And I will guarantee that by doing that, you find yourself being able to accomplish more in less time. And I don't mean time in a day. I mean less time in, hey, I've got to write a script that is 1,000 lines of code. Well, if you haven't been scripting every day for at least 20 minutes, that 1,000 lines might take you 6 months. Whereas if you've been working at it and studying the different constructs or constructs of that code, and what different pieces of it will do, then you might be able to knock it out in, say, 3 months. So your timelines can really shift just by doing things to make it easier. So again, if you're single, if you're married, if you have kids, it doesn't matter. Take the time for yourself. All right. Not only will it help, and the last thing I'm going to talk about, or at least mention, is not only will it help your knowledge, but it can really truly help your mental health, because we all need a break. We all need that time to just decompress and relax. And we all do it in different ways. For some of us that are introverts and really don't like dealing with people on a regular basis, or don't like going out, that time is behind a computer. It's reading something, it's researching something, because we know we're doing it to better our lives and our careers. And so it's interesting to us, and sometimes that's what helps people decompress. Sometimes it's doing something else, whether it's going outside or whatever. But whatever it takes, whatever is going to help you. I find personally, research and being online and studying, I may be weird, but it helps me. It helps improve my knowledge, and it helps me decompress. So I hope this video was helpful. Thanks again for joining me, Cyber Warrior, and I will see you next time.